This is for the PG4 assignment. I follow Jon Stewart on Twitter, and I want to focus mostly on what he had to say about the government shutdown, which is something that's going on right now in our country. He is mostly liberal-leaning, and so these viewpoints are going to be mostly from the left side of the political spectrum. The first tweet that I want to discuss is that Jon Stewart said on October 10th, "Tonight, Republicans find a way to screw over Obama and the poor." Obviously, that is a little bit left-leaning. It's chaotic in the sense that he is referring to the health care bill. And by the Republicans doing what they did, by ultimately leading to the shutdown, stood in the way of Obama passing his agenda and his legislation. But he also brings in the poor. He talks about them because they were the ones that were supposed to get covered. They were supposed to be helped out by this bill, the ones that are in poverty. And so that's what he means by Republicans finding a way to screw them over. It's kind of funny that he brings up Republicans because most of the left side, and honestly the general consensus right now, is that Republicans are responsible for the shutdown and that it was very unnecessary for them to do what they did. And so that's why I picked that tweet. I agree with what he has to say. I think it was kind of screwing them over, and they were being somewhat childish about it, but it is also funny. It's humoristic. It's not meant to be taken completely seriously, but it does hold some water, so I do like that quote. The next one he said was, "House Republicans take a stand against Obamacare and personal responsibility," and he said that on October 9th. I think what he meant there was that the Republicans aren't taking the blame. They're not fessing up to what they did the way they should be. And I agree with him. I think that they are kind of just beating around the bush a little bit. They're not coming forward and just taking responsibility for what they did, and they're not admitting to their mistakes, which is typical of any politician. And the last one I wanted to go over is the one he said on October 4th, which was, "Instead of visiting a World War II memorial, wage your own war, then remember it." And he said, #shutdown suggestions. And I thought this was hilarious. I thought it was honestly just a stab at Republicans saying, oh, well, since we can't go see any memorials or museums now because the government's in shutdown, you can't get into those areas anymore. Why not just go start your own war, and then we'll remember that. And I'm not entirely sure why he brought that up or made it kind of implied that Republicans are trying to start a war, but I do think it was kind of funny and chaotic in the way he brought that up. And I tend to agree with pretty much everything he says. I myself am also somewhat left-leaning. I definitely agree with what he's saying about the shutdown and how the Republicans aren't taking responsibility. They aren't just admitting to what they did wrong, and now the whole country's paying for it. And I think that's the main idea of these tweets, and that's the main idea that I wanted to get across. So there we go.